Hello there. Today we want to talk about getting counselling or therapy. You might need counselling or therapy, and the worse the abuse was, the more you might need it. So don't say no to it, okay? Just be open to it. You might not want to have it today, but you might need it later. Sometimes it'll just help the process go faster and help you clear out things more quickly. These people are skilled. They've worked with trauma victims, because that's what you are basically, and they will help you to find strategies and ways, and when you get stuck, help to maybe unstuck you. I don't think that was a word, I just made that word up. However, it has to be on your terms and you have to feel safe. If you get recommended someone, you go and see them, but see how you feel. If you don't feel comfortable, they're not going to be the right people for you. You have to feel comfortable with the person. And the reason is that the subject is so uncomfortable and makes you feel so shame and ashamed and, I don't know, foolish and stupid because you landed up in this, especially if you're an adult, that there's a lot going on inside you. You need someone who you feel makes you feel really, really comfortable and that you trust, and they trust you back. It's an important process. The person that you work with is very, very important. It has to be someone you trust. If you've been abused by a particular gender, I think you should perhaps at the beginning start with the opposite gender. So if you're abused by a man, go to a woman until you get comfy, and then when you feel like you've got strong and you want to go to some guy, go there. But don't make yourself do anything that makes you feel even more uncomfortable than you're going to feel about it. You will be exposed, you will feel vulnerable, you're going to cry, you're going to get angry, you're going to be feeling like you're saying you're sorry all the time because you're crying or upset, and you need to be with someone that you can feel good about. You usually get a kind of a feel about people, and you also get a feel whether they're going to be someone who's got a good heart. And when this was happening to you, there was no love. You experienced no love. It was just power and control. Therefore, try and make this experience, choose a therapist or counsellor, psychologist who is very loving and open-hearted. That's what you really want. You want someone like that because you didn't have that. And by being in a loving environment with someone who's kind and open-hearted and compassionate and empathic, more can come out because they're not like your abuser. I don't recommend you go to somebody who is very clinical and cold and telling you off and making you feel like you haven't done well. You don't need that. You don't need anything punitive. You've already done the punishment, babe. So don't go to anyone who's punishing. And if they start to become like this for you and you feel like they don't understand, they have an understanding what this feels like, you might reconsider and go to somebody else. It's very, very important because you need now, because you were in such an unsafe place before, when you're actually now throwing it all out and putting it all on the table, you need to be in a really safe place. And you need to be with someone who holds your heart in their hands and is gentle. Very, very important. This is not soldier on and get on with it and don't be ridiculous type of therapist. You don't want one of those. You don't want the commandant. You want Mother Teresa, gentle, kind person. That's what you want. You need a gentle, kind, empathic person to listen to you and then to help you guide through all of this. I can't emphasize this enough, actually. And the reason is because in a place of love, more can come out, more can be released. And you didn't have a place of love when this was happening. So once you create a relationship with someone and it's in a place of love, you'll find that more comes out. And it'll come out like quickly and your therapy will be better. For me, it has to be someone I trust. I didn't really go to many people because I was lucky. I just seemed to have friends who were doctors or psychologists, and because they were friends, we just chatted and I paid them back in kind with other things. For me, it was easier, but not everyone has that. And I think you should go one on recommendation, but then you go in there with your eyes wide open, because if your friend's going to this counsellor because their marriage is falling apart because they don't get on, they're going to have a completely different manner to when you go in and you've got decades of abuse that you're trying to get rid of and now you're ready to face it. These people will also be very skilled in helping you if you're having problems with sleeping or coping or eating. Also, if you've developed some addictions, they'll often have ways to help you with that, because it's all, of course, coming from the abuse. Because addiction is just a cry for help. It's just emotional pain, and that's your spiritual bandage that you're putting on with the alcohol or eating, the drinking, whatever you're doing, the drugs. They're just your spiritual bandage. But underneath is all the pain, and that's what you want. Someone who helps you get to release, to face, to cry it out. All those tears you couldn't cry, all that anger you couldn't release, all that hate you couldn't speak about, all that terror that you couldn't speak about, all that fear that you had. These are all the things that can come out through a counselling or therapy session. It's also a safe place because it's not your mum or dad or friend, and that can be a good thing because of this, because some of this stuff is quite personal and you don't really want to even talk about it out loud, let alone to someone who cares about you, because they're going to have a different emotional response. They're not going to go home and it's a job and they've gone home now and they switch off. They're going to think about you afterwards and worry about you. Sometimes you will talk to your friends and your family about it and they'll be really great. However, with some of the really grotty stuff, you might not want to go there with your mum or your friend. I had some very bad stuff and I just could not talk to certain people about it because they couldn't cope. They would never have coped with what happened at my house when I was little. Therefore, I was very careful to protect them almost from my life. And that's where a therapist or counsellor is going to be good for you. You'll know if it's right for you and you'll know when it's right for you. And if you can't quite do it yet in physical form, you just do it on the phone. You might be able to have or Zoom or something like that. You can have an interface between you and them. But it's something you might need to look at, particularly if you get stuck. And you might be going on really well, but then you just get stuck in a hard bit and you can't seem to push it out or get rid of it because you've shoved it down so deep and said you'll never go there. You might need someone to help you pry it out and get it out in a safe environment. You can do this, you can get better, but we need some help. And listen, we didn't have any help before. And that's part of us now standing up and being strong, because we didn't have any help then when we were children and or in a adult relationship when we were on our own with that person. But now we do. And that's what we have to do, is get the help to get better and get strong, because I firmly believe you can heal from this abuse and the negative effects that it has on your life on a daily level. And that's the problem with abuse. You carry it around you like a huge big black cloud, and you want to get rid of your cloud and you want to bring in the light and get happier and healthier. The counsellor will help you, the therapist will help you, but only if they come from love with you and only if they are someone you trust, you feel safe with. You've got to feel safe because you won't let it out if it's not in a safe environment. So keep that in mind. Get help if you can. It'll really make a difference. And I'm sending you lots of love and lots of light, and keep positive. You can get over this. You can get better.